Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, everybody. So the dragons have been whispering at me. So we're going to do a dragon message here too as well tonight. What's been hidden from you? Collective message. So the dragons have been whispering. Hope you all had a good Thursday and a good Wednesday. Sorry I wasn't here to bless your presence. But I needed a me day. I was gonna go on here last night to do a message, and I just decided, you know what? I'm gonna go to sleep. I've been a morning dove lately, so trying to do these night owl readings, and that's why I'm on here a little earlier. I'm gonna do some organizing, and I figure I'd get the collective reading done first before I went ahead and did the organizing. So, welcome in. Whenever you see this, it is timeless. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I'm going to do a bunch of different little collective readings in here, so if the first one don't match with you, maybe the second one will. I also have a new prayer that I'm going to start reciting when I first start here. I created this earlier. So we're going to start off with that. And then we're going to get into dragon message with the oracles, as well as the light activations and the unknown archetypes, and I'm going to finish it off with the tarot. So, welcome in, Julie. O universal source, divine breath of creation, you who exist in the realm of pure vibration and subtle energy, may your sacred frequency be awakened within us, and may we embody the divine essence, allowing the kingdom to arise within our hearts and souls. Let the divine will of the physical and spiritual merge realms in the cosmic divine pattern, microcosm to macrocosm, nourishing us with the cosmic divine vitality and divine wisdom and life force. Divine energy of cosmic consciousness, please restore us from any misalignment and confusion that has been created against us. As we release what no longer serves us, let it release the blocks that hinder forward movement. What we release then releases us. And invoke our discernment and awareness to not be deceived and to awaken our divine blueprint of destiny, giving us the synchronicity and signs to banish doubt, fog, and confusion. Protect our divine pathway and rescue us from illusion of separation from our divine purpose and soul family. And in the name of the divine order of our inner sacred kingdom, match our outer experience, and may the creative spark be lit and protect us on our journey and guide us through divine intervention now and forever. And so it is. Thank you, Great Spirit, for being here tonight. Angels, ancestors, divine light. Thank you for your protection. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your wisdom. Great Spirit, please guide me through this message so that we may find out what has been hidden from us. I'm going to start off with the unknown oracle. Again, take what resonates. If you'd like a personal reading, I'm available from 12 till 5, Monday to Friday. Come on over to Hipsy. The link is in the bio and the description of this video if you'd like a reading. I offer chat sessions as well as video sessions at $1 a minute with a 50% off your first 15 minutes. Looking forward to hanging out and serving your highest good. All right, Spirit, what is, right off the top, what is the overall message here with the unknown archetypes? What is the unknown message here? What do we don't know? What's been hidden from us? This one wants to pop out. So the box. Structure, order, logic, and coherence. Okay. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we got the village at the bottom of the deck, and we have the bardo at the top. Somebody doesn't know whether or not to like you or hate you. And I'm really picking up some sort of I don't know if it's envy. I don't know if it's jealousy. But it's like, it's a lurkin' gherkin energy. I'll tell you that much. The village. So this could be somebody back in your hometown. And the village speaks a lot about rooted internal generational communal kind of energy, but it's almost kind of bringing back that whole situation where, I'm going to bring Jesus into this, where, you know, Jesus went back to his hometown to go and preach, and nobody accepted him. In fact, they outcasted him, right? And the same thing happened with his disciples, right? When they all went back to their hometown, nobody, after all these changes that happened, after all of this enlightenment happened, they couldn't see him as this enlightened being. They couldn't see him as this individual that actually had gone through some changes and leveled up, right? So with the fact that the village is kind of on its side to the reverse, I'm kind of feeling like you know, somebody, they're talking, Somebody from your hometown is talking, but they kind of, I don't know. I'm really kind of picking up on the fact that, you're not supposed to go back. It's like if you go back, you're not going to be welcomed. And it's mainly because of maybe what you've learned and how you've leveled up. And I'm really picking up you've left people in the dust, so to speak. You've leveled up in such a way that it doesn't pertain to you. It's no longer resonating. It's no longer of your frequency. So we're starting off with the box, the cave, the destroyer, Alethea, Thanos, and the hunter. The base foundation of this is that you are focused, okay? You were very well could be grieving at this time from the distorting and gaslighting and excuses. And this is also about self-destruction, chaos, no rebuilding. There's definitely withdrawal, there's isolation, there's hiding. And, you're trying to create some sort of order and structure and logic within your experience. And I feel by going back home, you're only going back to what you left in the first place. And it's almost giving me a feeling like if you go back, you're going to remember why you left in the first place. Kind of energy. Okay? Now, this isn't to say that all of your connections were bad. It just says that, you outgrow certain places. And I'm really kind of feeling like you're in the process of making some sort of plans to move. And you're trying to figure out the direction in which you like to go. And I think the fact that that old part of you is being taken away, with us leaving out the end of the year here with the snake. We're shedding our skin. We're shedding the old parts of us. We're rising above. We're elevating out of this past version of ourselves. I really feel that this is significant for this reading tonight. And this is about, with the destroyer, it's destroying with intent, in essence, right? With the destroyer in the reverse, though, it's destroying to not come back. It's destroying to not rebuild a certain part of yourself, right? So it's not like there's any rebirth of something. It's like literally shedding skin. And the fact that, there's been a lot of distortion and gaslighting and excuses from that past energy or that past version, there's definitely something about you shedding this aspect of yourself. And you very well could be in a moment or a time of grieving. This could be a witness of death, life and death and rebirth. But there's definitely parts of you that are dying off and closing out cycles. We are currently in a 9 cycles, so cycles are definitely clearing out. They're definitely ending. So I think that's overall the basis of this transformation. Now moving into the next level, it's really pertaining to reality breaking open. You're having to draw the line in the sand. You're having to create boundaries. You're definitely creating a situation of the heart. You're banishing, it's almost like you're banishing that old part of yourself that no longer serves you. It's the fragmented pieces of your heart that have been broken, that have been kind of brought into a position where you're recognizing the pain, the suffering, the trauma. It's not worth looking at anymore because you've looked at it at every angle. You've looked at it from every perspective. Okay, and I feel that to some degree you may be growing out of it now. Now, there's definitely some sort of a structure of a solid figure. This could be your father. It could be a father figure. It could be some sort of energy regarding a father figure. But it's almost as if uh, it's really kind of giving a devastated by failure, right? So I feel that this is a portion of what you are releasing, okay? There very well could be an unsupported energy that you're walking away from officially. There could be very much disappointed, devastation by failures or not becoming of anything. And I feel that this is a part of you that you're letting go of simply because you have grown out of that old version of yourself, right? And I feel this is an energy that anything that you did do was never good enough. So it kind of gave you a complex that you weren't worthy of blessings. You weren't worthy to grow. You weren't worthy to succeed. You weren't worthy to elevate. And I think this is again another portion of yourself that you are letting go of. I do believe that you're moving into a time of clairvoyancy, wisdom. You're recognizing that the now moment is what is important. It's not the past. And I feel that whoever this message is for, you've done a lot of work. We do have the healer out here. Okay. So with that in some sort of perspective, there's definitely something here about utilizing the wisdom, learning from that. But now you're in the process of um, applying that wisdom, right? And I feel that you are supporting that structure of that impact that it's made within your experience. And this is what's going to bring about some sort of abundance with this new focus about respecting your own energy, about focusing your energetic frequency on what is important. Okay. And, you know, with the hunter being out here, this is somebody that thinks very methodical. They think of the plan before they go out to hunt. They think of when is the best time to hunt. What weapons do I need? What swords or what guns or whatever do I need to go and to go out and do this type of hunting? What knives, what materials, what supplies do I need to bring with me? So you're creating some sort of a focused plan to be prepared, to be ready, to be willing to make that venture, take on that adventure, okay? And I feel that there's going to be some sort of supported, kind of generous, abundant, uh, kind of reliable kind of energy here. And with the sustainer card kind of foreshadowing the hunter, this is not only to help you, but it's to help the people around you as well. Now, the next layer here, we've got the anima mundi, we've got the temple, we've got the shadow, and we've got the bridge. And the second layer, we got the fault line, the heart, the father, the poet, and the sustainer. So you're utilizing the learning lessons, the wisdom that you've accumulated over this time to apply to that next season, to apply to that next adventure. Now, with with Anima Mundi, it's kind of, with it being in the reverse, ultimately it's talking about the sacred details of life, right? And being one with the energies at hand. But in the reverse, it's overwhelmed by existence, right? So there very well could be some lines that you've drawn people are overwhelmed with, right? You're no longer pouring into those people that don't pour back into you. And those that do not respect your temple, you are not giving time for. Those that are choosing to create stress and situations of chaos, you're no longer entertaining. You're kind of pulling your energy back and you're trying to keep your peace. Now, With the shadow in the reverse, this is denying the inner darkness and overall denying the shadow of the world. So it's almost like you're putting your rose-colored glasses on and focusing on what's important. And sometimes we have to do that. Sometimes we have to stop watching the news. Sometimes we have to stop paying attention to what's going on around us to focus on our own energy, to be of that manifestation of what we would like to obtain. And sometimes that takes some time alone. Sometimes that takes solitude. Now, the bridge, this is about communication. This is about acceptance. This is about stepping into the magic of the life, of the world, of making that bridge, bridging the gap between particular connections that you have, creating a new sense of wonder, a new sense of possibility with maybe some new connections. So you're kind of branching out. I think with the other cards in the previous here, it's almost as if you may have been in a hermit mode, but this hermit mode was more or less of a solitude rather than an isolation. It was a time of recuperation. It was a time of healing. It was a time of introspection, um, introspection in a sense to learn the lessons, receive the blessings kind of situation. Now, with the bridge and the sustainer and the hunter, you know that this is evident, you know that this is needed, and it's about being one and be of service, to be in that love vibration, uh, to be in this energy of acceptance and just kind of vibing with the essence of creation. With the temple on its side, though, this is, you know, it's the cross between the spiritual and the physical. Okay, you have that moment of spirituality, but you also have that moment of the physicality. And I feel that you're kind of sitting in the midst of the fence or the midst of the in between at this time. And I feel that this has been rather taxing on you because you're wondering what side of the fence you want to jump onto. You're wondering where is the most important, what's the most priority. And I feel that this was partially part of your healing and about the vows of your next season, of your next journey, of your next adventure, of what you've been wanting to move forward with. Uh, by you stepping into this oneness with the vow, the healer, and the one, I really feel that you're making a new priority list. You're really focusing on your peace. You're really focusing on your grounding your energy, being self-contained. You're very alert. You're very awake, eyes open to the wisdom at hand. Okay, that you've learned, and now this is the application of that wisdom that I feel that you are moving forward with, being in one with your priorities, with your destiny, and with taking that stance of being a witness, okay, to life, to death, to rebirth, to experience, to lessons, okay, allowing the energy to heal you, allowing the experience to heal you. In an essence, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. So, what is the message, and how can I apply this to my experience? Now, the river, we're talking about going with the flow. We're talking about acceptance, accepting the flow of the river and going with what the situation is. At the same time, it's about really noticing the reflection of the water and how that pertains to you. Now, the creator, and with the fact that you're not necessarily agreeing with the particular flow, maybe it's a rushing river. Maybe the anticipation of jumping in the river and flowing with this fast moving water is a little bit nerve wracking. Maybe you're losing your spark. Maybe you're feeling burdened with this whole idea of trusting the river, knowing that with the medallion on the top, it's not really traditional. This is not your traditional way of going about things, right? And I feel that that traditional way of going about things has been shed. I think this is part of partial, the skin that you've shedded from behind you, from the world behind you, what you've actually overall released for yourself. The overall message with this of what's been hidden from you, and I feel that it comes back to that situation where for the longest time you thought that this was something that was happening to you specifically. And I feel that despite that maybe it was, I'm not going to sit here and gaslight you and say, no, it was happening for you. It was all for your highest good. No, there's a lot of sinister individuals out here that are out here doing sinister things. Okay? And they're thinking that they're pulling the wool over your eyes and they're able to manipulate and they're able to do this or they're able to do that. But I will say this, okay? Despite of all of that, despite of the shenanigans that happen within our experience, okay, a lot of us are gang stalked and having to deal with uh, trafficking and exploitation and being attacked and being just outright evil-eyed and yada yada yada. Okay, the situation is with that is that the divine watches it all. The divine sees it all happening. Okay, and sometimes the divine creates situations where they take you literally out of it. So maybe these abusers, maybe these people get their way to some degree, but it is to bring you back to source energy, ultimately. So on the physical plane, it may look like it's death. It may look like it's homicide. It may look like it's something extravagantly hostile and crazy. But it's almost as if the divine is taking you back to cradle you, right? In other perspectives, it is used by the divine as a catalyst to get you to wake up. It's a catalyst to get you to be more aware in other situations, to see if you can overcome, to see if you can bring yourself to a new position, a new stance, a new foundation. And despite it all, collective, it may happen to you. I'm not sitting here and going to gaslight you that it's not tough. It's sometimes devastating. It's sometimes excruciating and very, very painful what happens. And this is why I feel that community is important. And I guess like with this whole idea of the village, and I think Pilgrim was out here too as well somewhere. But the village here about going back home is not an option, right? And maybe it's because you left a toxic situation, right? Maybe it's not in your best interest. And maybe you've been ridiculed. Maybe you've been gang stalked. Maybe you've been put in a situation where you don't really have many options, okay? And sometimes we have to do some things that aren't necessarily traditional. Sometimes we have to do things that are kind of new to us. Sometimes we have to do things that are maybe unorthodox to our current situation. And I feel that this is what's being hidden from you, right? Is that, when you go through these experiences and you have these things happen, you ultimately have free will. You ultimately have choice, okay? And the divine, in essence, I think, to some degree, is testing us to see what we do, to see if we can be compassionate, if we can be understanding, if we can change the way we used to do things and maybe not do things traditionally the way we used to. Maybe instead of being separated and maybe being a little bit more selfish, maybe we're a little bit less selfish and move into a selfless kind of energy. And I feel that there's definitely a separation happening. There's a division happening across the world. And there's a lot of people running off to certain places to think that they're going to get away from the tyranny, to think that they're going to get away from it. One thing that I've learned in my 42 years of life is that no matter how far you run, you cannot hide, right? And this isn't necessarily to say that you're a refugee or that you're on the run or that you're in a situation where you're going to be constantly running. But to some degree, it's part of the adventure, despite what it has entails in retrospect. Despite what the adventure entails, it's ultimately still an adventure. And we ultimately have free will as to how we react to that adventure. Sometimes there's reactive abuse. Sometimes there's a lot of challenging situations. But ultimately, it's a lesson. It's a learning experience. It's a recognizing of how you can adapt, how you can accept the flow, and reflect on that. Reflect on how you've adapted in the past. Maybe switch it up, adapt differently. And I got shivers all over my whole body as a confirmation for that. So I do feel that there's definitely something here about doing something different, but allowing the divine to guide you in that difference, right? Maybe it's about switching it up. Maybe it's about recognizing where you went wrong. Maybe it's about recognizing where you failed and taking accountability in the past and maybe switching that up and doing something different, you know? And I feel this is a lot about empowerment. I feel this is a lot about recognizing, taking accountability for our own. And I guess this comes back to the situation that in order for us to change the world, we first need to change ourselves. If we just expect the services and our governments to take over and change it for us, they very well could be implementing something that we do not want to be a part of. But in essence, if we do not change ourselves, they're literally giving us no choice. When we give them a reason to say, no, maybe we'll hold off on this, you know, just by acting different. Maybe we're more compassionate. Maybe we're more community oriented. Maybe we're more supportive with the community rather than being all about ourselves and being all about, you know, what can I get out of it, you know, kind of situation. It comes back to the reason why I keep coming back here, right? I could very well just stop my collectives altogether and just do sessions and just keep myself open in for priority of the sessions, right? But I really do enjoy what I do here. And I'm not out here, again, I'm not out here calling people out. What I'm doing here is calling out the karmic energy that needs to change in order for us to elevate as a human race, as a human species, right? And everybody's out here bitching about how, you know, things need to change, but they're sitting there doing nothing with their life to change it within themselves, right? And I think this is where we need to really kind of maybe collaborate as a community and really kind of maybe step up into a new version of ourselves and shed this old skin of, oh, we'll just let the government take care of it. Okay? So we need to kind of band together as communities and really start supporting each other, specifically through the winter months. It's not easy. And I feel that if we do start supporting ourselves as well as supporting the whole ability to nurture our communities, right? And recognize that we're all people. of the earth. And unless we start making those changes, we're not going to see those changes. And then, quite frankly, that's why the top 1% call us all useless eaters, is basically because we're not doing anything. Yet we're sitting here complaining and there's no change happening, right? So the only way to corral the chaos is to divide us, right? The first thing you want to do when two people are fighting is separate them, right? You want to say, you go your way, and move out, you know, to just kind of articulate some sort of peace, right? Like, you go pick a corner and you go pick a corner and go stand there until you can think about what you've done, kind of thing. So I think that's why the divide has happened across the world, ultimately, because we've lost our reason to be useful. We've lost our way from our sacred essence of ourself. And I think we need to find that again. And that's why I've come here to provide these messages to help us do that. So, again, I'm not out here calling people out. I'm just out here sharing a message. Okay? Whether or not it hits you and resonates with you and vibes with you is another thing. But ultimately, if we're not willing to work with our communities and band together and create a better, more supportive situation for the world, in essence, like, the refugees should be able to go back home and live in peace and rebuild their nations. Okay? After 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years of war, we shouldn't be having war anymore. We should be over it already. We should be bringing peace to the planet. Okay? People should have enough sense in their head, enough common sense to recognize what's going wrong and ultimately change it for themselves, within themselves, as well as within their communities. You know, these people out here stealing, they wouldn't be out here stealing if they actually had a chance to get a job and a career and be fruitful with their life and be successful. They wouldn't have to fight for their life. They wouldn't have to go out and steal something in order to try to make ends meet, right? There would be no need to steal because everyone wouldn't be hungry. We'd all be fed. We'd all be nourished. And I really feel that that's bringing a lot of the end to the chaos by bringing us back into our sacred essence of ourself and recognizing where we stand in the grand design. And I feel once we take a step back and see that, where we can offer our support, not only to ourselves and the people around us, but our communities and people around the world. You know, these people can ultimately go back to where they came from and where they grew up, where they feel, where they should feel safe, where they should feel at home, because they were born there. You know, the only aspect of travel should be go to discover, but they should always have a safe place to go back home. And with the village here in the reverse, and just the disappointment, there's a lot of people that can't go back home. They don't have a home to go back to. And it's very unfortunate that that's happened. And they have literally no other choice but to follow through with the flow of the river, whether they like it or not. Right? And I think we ultimately need to come to an understanding as a world, you know, that we need to support each other as a community and try to build up a community that's supportive rather than deceptive and disintegrating. So ultimately, with this overall message, it's about finding the sacred essence of who you are within yourself and shedding the skin of the old versions of yourself and recognizing that the pain and the wisdom you've learned from that pain, turning your pain to power, I think is very significant with this tonight's message overall. finding the sacred essence within yourself, knowing that despite the failures of the past, that does not define you and it does not define your future. And I'm really picking up on the fact that the world is your oyster. We have the possibilities to bring a new idea to the forefront here and to create something that's beneficial for humanity, for the world. And I don't necessarily agree with all of it. I don't agree with really any of it, of what is being implemented. I don't think it's right. I feel that there should be some sort of a system be put into place where we all have individual sovereignty? Yes. But our rights should not be taken away. We should not have to worry about whether or not we are going to be controlled as like a puppet. We should have freedom. We should have freedom of choice. We should have our own freedom of sovereignty as a human race. We should be able to feel safe to walk down the street. You know, we should be able to be safe in our homes and, you know, feel that we can create something for ourselves where we're not going to be penalized for the way we love, for the way we try to support humanity. Okay? Like all the peace talkers, right? They usually get annihilated. They get sacrificed. They get taken out. All because they're preaching peace and forgiveness, love, respect. That needs to be a thing of the past. We need to bring more of that back to the earth. So ultimately, this is the message here for the first little bit. The first message. It's really talking about focusing on your purpose, focusing on your destiny, and applying the lessons that you've learned, and really taking that into consideration that the past should not define us. It should be something that we learn from and we rise above it. So we're going to move into a message from the dragons. Dragons, what's the message overall? What's been hidden from us? Okay. We have transcendence, achieving success, bliss, cherishing the day, resources, understanding, looking at both sides, dominance, believing in yourself. I'm really picking up on boundaries with that. And destruction, releasing your anger. I'm really picking up on a resistance. I'm really picking up on a revolt. I'm really picking up on civil unrest with this. I'm not going to lie. And I'm really kind of picking up on a it's really coming back to the fact that some people are achieving success, some people have purpose, and other people are envious of it. Other people are bitter at the fact that other people have success. People are looking at them as if, okay, well, you can have success. Why can't I have success? And it's mainly because they're doing absolutely nothing to bring about success for themselves. And mainly it's due to the fact of their own insecurities. It's due to the fact that they don't have direction. Like when I got like okay, so I've got a 6-page resume portfolio. I get bored rather quickly. Not okay. I'm gonna be honest. I get bored rather quickly, and this is partially the reason why I have a 6-page resume portfolio. Okay, to some degree, I get bored, and then I switch it up in a sense that I try to perfect the job. Right. At first, it's a learning experience, and then I adapt different ways of doing things. I try things different ways to see how it works, to see if it's time management. I work on my quality of execution. I work on the quality of time management. I work on the quality of application. Um, I work on the quality of pretty well every aspect of whatever I'm doing, pretty much to perfect it. Not only for myself, but to understand it for myself in all perspectives, but also to embody this aspect of knowledge and wisdom to apply it to other areas of my life. When I look at something, I really look deep into it. I try to pick it apart in order to understand it. It's like, something's broken. Okay, let's take it apart. Let's see what's broken. And is it anything that I could maybe fix? Is it just totally dead? Is there a part that I can buy to make it better again, to make it useful again? Or is it just dump? Is it ready for the dump kind of situation, right? So I do that in essence to pick it apart, to learn something new, to open my mind to knowledge, to wisdom. And over the years, certain jobs that I've had to perfect and bring about that awareness and that wisdom has brought me here, ultimately, um, to find my purpose. Now, some people just get a job to get a job, and they're at this job for pretty well 3/4 of their life, and they don't feel that they have guidance or that they have the wisdom to do anything else. Some people like structure, right? Some people don't like to just accept the flow of the river. They need to be on land. They can sit there and watch the river. They can get in a boat and paddle down the river because at least they have some sort of control. But when they just jump in the river and accept to go for the ride and just accept it how it is, some people can't handle that, right? But for me, I'd probably be sitting in the water in my kayak. I still have control, but ultimately the river has control of where we're going, right? But I really kind of get the feeling that there's certain people out here that are being called to do certain things, and they don't feel, due to their insecurities, that they have the ability to do those things. And I've read cards for 30 years. Did I really want to get back into this, doing card readings? Not really. Because back in the day, it really took a lot out of me energetically. Being an empath, a dark empath, and being intuitive, being prophetic, and having certain visions throughout my childhood come to me and come to pass. It was rather traumatic. Just being a part of that prophecy. And for a while there, I shut it down. For a while there, I wasn't dreaming there for quite a while. And it kind of gave me some sort of respite to focus on other things, and that's where the 6-page resume portfolio came from. I went ahead and I did a bunch of different other things. I've worked in kitchens, I've done landscaping, I've done construction, I've done traffic control. I even worked for the Easter Bunny and a bunch of different other things. And to come back full circle, back to this, and to have people call me a fraud and to say that I don't know what I'm talking about and all this kind of thing, that I should just stop now and it's the devil's work and all this kind of thing. But then I sit back and I recognize the lives that I've changed, the people that I've elevated, the people that I've helped out, the people that I've saved, literally from the brink of jumping off a bridge and ending their life. Um, I know I was called here for a reason, and it's an absolute honor to be here, to be called. Now, when it comes back to your calling, it doesn't have to be cards. It does not have to be prophecy. It doesn't have to be counseling even. It doesn't have to be a life coach. It could be working in the kitchen. Maybe you like to bake. Maybe you like the alchemy of food. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you want to get into a trade. Maybe you want to build a house. Maybe you want to electrify a house. Maybe you want to add gas to that house. You know, maybe you want to add an HVAC to that house, a furnace, whatever the case may be. Maybe you want to drive. Maybe you want to deliver. Maybe you want to transport. Maybe you want numbers. Maybe you're good with numbers. Makes no difference what you are called to do. But the fact that you have purpose, and the fact that a life full of purpose is a purpose full of life, and that you feel fulfilled. And ultimately, my insecurities at first, before I came back to tarot, is to be presentable. All right. And you know what? For a while there, I did give up on myself. I did. And I take full accountability for that. And my smile isn't all that great. And it's literally one of the last insecurities I really have about myself. And I've had no other choice but to love it just in itself. Because every time I look at my smile, as destroyed as it is, I remember how far I've come to elevate myself, to look beyond my smile, to look at the inner workings of who I am and what I've overcome, and to what I've survived, all of the abuse, the ridicule, the gaslighting, the triangulation, the chaos, everything that I've overcome to be here in the now, in the moment. If people can't look at me like a diamond in the rough and they cannot see my value, they don't deserve me. They don't deserve to be in my presence. They don't deserve to be around me. And, you know, the fact that there's certain people out there thinking that I should be doing something else, or thinking I should just be dead in a ditch somewhere because I'm not worth of anything. And a lot of these readings, did I want it to come out? No, I don't. I don't want to be speaking on my personal life. But a lot of these readings that I've had over the last 3 years, soon to be, on the 15th, that's what, 4 days away, is my 3-year anniversary of being here doing tarot. If I didn't do this, I wouldn't be here. This was my checkmate. My collective, my members, my supporters, you are my checkmate. If it wasn't for you banding together to help me through this, I would not be here. And this is why I continue to come back. Despite all the challenges, despite the the endless gang stalking and the endless evil eye and the constant attacking and the constant ridicule and the bashing and the fact that the divine has called me here to provide these messages, and I know the impact that I've made. When you step, my main point here is when you step into your calling, sometimes that's unknown to you. Okay? And mainly it's sideswiped by your insecurities. I was literally almost brought to shambles before I came here and started this channel. I literally was given no other choice. Like, my jobs were being sabotaged, I was being gang stalked, and I'm still yet to get justice on that. You know, the boys in blue won't even touch it. They have nothing to do with it. I'm disgusted with our so-called services. I recently, called another lawyer speaking on. They had there's a lawyer out there that knows about narcissistic abuse, and they're out there fighting the good fight. And I says, "Is there any pro bono? Because I don't have the money." "Oh no, sorry, we can't help you then." But even just to have like a 60-minute concession, it's $200. How are people supposed to get justice for the abuse? How are people supposed to overcome this? And even uh, there's a Canadian. I don't know her name. I don't know her situation, but she's sick. She needs an operation, and there's not a doctor. You probably heard about it already. There's not a doctor in Canada that'll actually see her. Apparently, the one that will actually talk to her to refer her is too fucking busy for her. Meanwhile, she's doubled over in pain. And so she took to her story, and she went online, and I guess Glenn Beck uh, got word of the story and did a little bit of um, a little bit of a segment regarding it. And they said that the Canadian government issued her the possibility of just getting MAID and medical assisted death instead of actually getting the operation that she needs. And people wonder why I talk shit on our medical establishment, because it's not, our health system is not healthy nor a system. Okay? It's a very, very sick system. And that's what they try to do, to make you sick. And I'm very disgusted with that so-called system. And I don't care how you throw it. Now, I'm not saying that there's doctors out there that aren't good doctors. I'm not saying it at all. But there's certain doctors out there that are following their calling. And this is the main reason why I'm bringing this up in the first place. There are certain people out there following their calling because they've been called to be a doctor, to be a nurse, to be a support worker, to be a physician of sorts, of any particular department. Okay? And then there's those that are out there for the money, which are there's a very fine line, right? And for the most of it, it's all about the money. It's all about what the situation is for their pocketbook. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care. They really don't. And I'm going to say this about the boys in blue. There's people out there that actually want to save people's lives. There's people out there that actually want to serve and protect and hold their vow. And then there's other people out there that just want to overpower people. Okay? It's all about the calling. It should never be about the money. It should be about the calling. It's about the purpose. It's about the fulfillment. And money is not fulfilling. Yes, it helps the world go round, but it's a very, very sad excuse to go and do a particular job. You ultimately should be called within the inner parts of you as to what you need to do, where you need to go, and what direction you need to go in. It shouldn't ever be about the money. It shouldn't ever be about your pocketbook. Because ultimately, I'll tell you right now, the job that I do now with this is priceless. There's no money in the world that can touch what I feel within my heart, within my soul, for the impact that I've made across the world. Because I know I wanted to make an overall impact across the world, but I didn't know how I was going to make it in a way that was going to be a benefit. And the one day I was actually on YouTube asking the same question. I'm like, and I'm scrolling my live feed, and I'm looking at all these really idiotic, stupid videos and stupid live feeds of like really idiotic stuff. I'm like, you know what? These people are getting super chats. These people are making a whole bunch of money, and they're being stupid. And I was kind of pondering on the whole aspect of, uh, doing up my channel again, and what direction do I want to go in as far as my content and whatnot. And I kind of asked myself, I said, well, if there was something that would be able to teach, what would it be? And this is why I keep bringing this back to my collective. If there was something that you could teach, if there was something that you were very versed in, what would it be, and how could you provide it to the world? Sometimes our greatest avenues and greatest direction is to go in the direction of what we already know and what we've already experienced, and to elevate and educate the collective overall, just with what your own personal wisdom is, right? And because I've been prophetic, and because I've seen things come to pass, and because I've been wanting to change it, uh, this is why I've come to the conclusion of this endeavor. Okay? So, the reason why I'm speaking on this specifically is because you all have your own calling, you all have your own direction, and all you need to go is within to find that. Okay? It's not that difficult. It's really not difficult. Get in touch with your inner power. Get in touch with your inner wisdom. Get in touch with your higher self. Okay? And if you've been here a while, you know how to do that by now. If you don't, well, maybe that's another channel, or maybe that's another episode of things to do. But it comes back to this whole idea that there's certain people out here that are achieving success, and they're cherishing the moment in which the divine is working in their life. Okay? And they're building resources because of it. Okay? And they're really understanding what they're being called to do. Okay? They're getting that validation of what they're being called to do. And they're needing to believe in themselves to do it, despite their insecurities, right? And it's not an easy ask to overcome your insecurities. Not an easy ask at all. But it's definitely something of growth. It's definitely something that will bring you to an elevation of sorts, right? And this is the whole thing. There's certain people out here pissed off that you're believing in yourself. I know that for me. I know that. People are very pissed off at the fact that I'm confident. People are very pissed off at the fact that I'm facing my insecurities and I'm willing to talk about my insecurities and hold myself accountable. They're very, very pissed off at the fact that I'm not a toxic asshole like them. They're very pissed off at the fact that I'm elevating and I'm learning and I'm adapting to this. They're very pissed off and envious at the fact that I'm actually succeeding. And so they continuously ridicule and attack and whatever else to make me question what I do and why I do it. When I already know why I do it. I already know why I'm here. I already know because it is part of my calling. And these people that are insecure with themselves feel that they have the audacity to stalk, to report, to shadow ban, to manipulate, and to dim the light of those that are in their calling, as if they have the right to diminish someone else in order to make themselves feel better. When if they would just overcome their own insecurities and do something for themselves and rise above that, they themselves would be just as empowered, if not more, but within an integrity rather than a demolishing and a destruction of another soul, of another heart. I'm not out here trying to destroy people. I'm not out here trying to take people out. I'm not out here gang stalking. I'm not out here, you know, doing all this stuff to bring sabotage to people's lives. I'm out here trying to elevate and inspire. Right? And I'm only using my own experience as an example. But take this as your own experience, right? Into your own experience. That yes, you know what, there's going to be people out there that aren't going to like what you do. Maybe they have a different picture of what they want for you. But it's really none of their business. You ultimately have free will to do what you feel is necessary for yourself. But the trick is to not hurt people along the way. And I apologize if I've ever hurt anybody or if I've ever said anything that may have struck a nerve or triggered you or brought you to a place of sadness or shame. But I've really brought my own accountability into this. I brought my own wisdom into this. And you know what? I could have took a very, very dark side to my life with everything that I've dealt with and everything that I've had thrown at me. I could have very well snapped out many times. I could have very well done some pretty dark things. But I chose otherwise. I chose to stay with the light. I chose to continue to rise and try to understand from many different points of view. I picked it apart. I held myself accountable. And I changed my life because of it. So, other people, they're not going to be like me, I understand. But I'm a living example that you have the possibility to choose light over darkness. This is the epitome of my name. Aiden representing fire. The wolf, the lone wolf. The wolf has been looked at for years as a predator, when the wolf is actually quite loyal, respectable. They stand for what's important. And the shadow is the dancing of the light and the dark. And the finding of balance within the light and dark. And the fact that I'm sitting here speaking on this and I've only got 9 people in my chat, when I had 13, 14, 15 people in my chat earlier. Not to say that I'm not happy with the people that are watching or the people that are listening in, but I'm very grateful for you for sticking around and hearing my story and hearing my sermon, I guess. But I'm speaking on this because this is the feeling I'm getting from these cards. This transcendence of achieving some sort of a success, and people are screaming at you because of it. Cherishing the moment, and people don't like that. People don't like the fact that you're in the moment. People don't like the fact that you're creating resources not only for yourself, but for other people. People don't like the fact that you're understanding things from a dark and a light perspective. People don't like the fact that you're believing in yourself and you're asserting dominance within your own life. You're not allowing somebody to puppeteer you and manipulate you. Right? You're releasing your anger and anything that comes against you or brings you to, tries to bring you to annihilation. Ultimately you're destroying it, and you're overcoming it. All because you're following your calling. I would ultimately like to do this for free. If I got paid in essence of purpose, I would be rich. I wouldn't have to ask for donations. Because ultimately I'm very rich in spirit. I'm very rich in the essence of fulfillment this way. But we live in a world that requires money. And to continue to come on here and do these free collectives, it's very sacrificial of myself. I'm sacrificing a part of me in order to be here. It's not easy. Okay, throw a bunch of cards out and talk about them. That's one thing. But to have the experience to back it up, to have the knowledge to back it up, to have the insight and the wisdom to back it up, that don't come easy. That comes with sacrifice. That comes with blood. It comes with sweat. It comes with tears. It comes with overcoming the challenges. And even at this very moment, I'm being pelted. And I'm just grueling through it. Ever since 6 o'clock this afternoon, I've had a fucking headache. Slowly but surely coming on. And I know it's my fucking projectors and the evil eyers and the people that are fucking envious of the fact that I come on here and I speak on this. I know you're sitting there and you're watching. You're waiting to see if the fucking magic is working. You watch absolutely every single one of my videos. I know. You think I don't? You think I don't know? I'm not a seer for nothing. I just choose not to mention you. I choose not to even acknowledge you half the time. And you're constantly watching my shit thinking, oh, let's see what we can throw at him today. Let's see if he notices. Let's test him today. Let's see what kind of chaos we can create. Let's see how much we can throw at him today. Let's see if we can get him to end his live. That one live where you had a whole group of you attacking me all at once. Right? And I ended the live early because of it. You thought you were funny. You thought you were getting a lot of joy out of that. You think the divine didn't tell me who that was? I know exactly who you are, but I'm not going to give you the gratification of even uh, speaking your name, because that's how worthless you are to the world. That's how worthless you are to the divine. And you walk around like an actual spiritualist when you're not one. You're nothing. You're insignificant. And Spirit's saying you're headed to purgatory for everything that you've done, not only to me, but other people. You're headed to purgatory. And I know you don't give a fuck. You never did to begin with. It's because you are dark and twisted and sadistic. And it's all because of the trauma and the abuse from your past that you choose not to look at. You don't want to take your accountability for your own actions. You'd rather rip other people apart to make yourself feel better than actually sit there and heal it and empower yourself above it. That's on you. And the divine is watching absolutely everything you're doing. And if you think that you're getting away with it, you can run, but you cannot hide. Whether you're light or dark, the divine gives you life. It's not the darkness. The light always overrides the darkness. Since the beginning of time. So if you're thinking you're getting away with it, you're sadly mistaken. The divine's watched absolutely every single thing. The divine is testing you right now and seeing how far you'll actually go. And you should be scared. Specifically with all that death magic you keep throwing out into the world. You can run, but you cannot hide. And your time is coming. And I won't have to lift a damn thing. You won't have to lift a finger when it happens. And no matter where you run to, no matter where you run to, you will meet your demise sooner or later. And you will have to answer to what you've done. Dragon, what's the next message? Carry the energy of the future, be a guiding light. So somebody does not want you to be a prophetic. They don't want you to share what you have to see of the future. They do not want you to be a guiding light. They want you to shut that down. It's not up for them to make a decision, collective. Come into balance and practice peace, harmony, and cooperation. Expand your causal chakra. Be at peace. Be a peaceful warrior. Help those in need and remember your magnificence. Yeah, somebody doesn't want you to remember who you are. Somebody doesn't want you in balance, because when you're in balance, you're very powerful. You're very influential, and they're scared of that. You're scared of your potential. And what's been hidden is good fortune is coming. Let your thoughts support your divine perfection. Align with your fifth dimensional blueprint. It's coming in whether or not I'm alive or not anyway. Come hell or high water is what Spirit's saying. It's coming in. And we will be met with another meteor by the end of 2026. It's actually coming in a lot quicker and a lot sooner than people realize. I have a feeling it'll be here before winter's over. And there's going to be great devastation, and we will have no other choice but to work together as a community to come together to survive. I tried to keep that to myself, but Spirit's saying now is the time. And no machine, no apparatus is going to kick it out of orbit. I'll tell you that much. And if they think about throwing a nuclear head at it, it's only going to dirty the planet. It's only going to make it worse. It's like hitting a hornet's nest and just standing there waiting for the aftermath. So the nuclear warhead isn't going to work. It's only going to make things worse. Ignite the codes of your master blueprint. Access cosmic wisdom and enter higher service. Ultimately, the things that are going to be happening within the next year are going to overthrow the current systems that are trying to gain control, that they are losing by divine intervention. They're chomping at the bit because they're losing control of the planet. And they don't like that. They don't like the fact that they're spinning their wheels. They don't like the fact that they're losing control. And it's kind of odd that the corporations around the world are trying to overtake the shadow government in order to bring peace to the planet when they went rogue. So they're bringing an annihilation of the systems, thinking that they're going to get the upper hand and gain control, when the divine is going to step in and off-throw everything. It will be the first time in history where history will no longer be able to repeat itself. And we will have no other choice but to adapt with the current status quo of this chaos that they're trying to ensue upon the planet. And this is why I'm here. Not to overthrow, but to bring communities together in order to heal the inner chaos, in order to bring peace to the planet. And it first must start with ourselves. This whole idea of going to another planet, to inhabit another planet, do you honestly think they want a bunch of us there? No. The Earth is the Goldilocks planet. This is the one planet where we get to be in our physicality. We get to have feelings. We get to have emotions. We get to have the ability to see, to touch, to have senses, to create. And as long as I've been alive, all we've done is create chaos. That's all I've observed. And it's about time we do things differently. It is the essence of survival. It's the essence of community that will prevail. And time is of the essence, collective. This is why I've been so predominantly focused on healing and healing the inner world, so that way the outer world changes. It will ultimately assimilate. And if we all work together on that, and we all heal the inner worlds and inner trauma and the inner chaos, we can actually have peace on earth here. We can actually bring the earth, Mother Gaia, back to the frequency that was once here at the time of Atlantis, when we had all our gifts, when we had all our blessings available, when the things that we wished to manifest manifested literally before our eyes. But because of greed and because of the darkness, it overtook. But it's ultimately up to our free will, our destinies, and our ability to step into our destiny and what we are called here to do in order to create the world that we wish to see. We are that change, and many before me have come to the earth to speak on that. And unless we take accountability for our own shit, we will not see the light of day. And for those that thought that building these cities and creating these tunnels and to live within the inners of the earth, it will be decades and millenniums before we'll be able to come to the surface. And we will only have ourselves to blame. So igniting the codes of your master blueprint, accessing cosmic wisdom, and entering the higher service. Letting your thoughts support your divine perfection, aligning with your fifth dimensional blueprint. Being a peaceful warrior, helping those in need. Remembering your magnificence. Coming into balance and precise peace and harmony and cooperation, expanding your causal chakra and carrying the energy of the future and being a guiding light is our virtue, individually and collectively. message from our dragons. Actually, no, I'm going to do the light activations first. We got the orbs of light, paradigm shift, the fourth ray of harmony, and the masters of healing, and the orbs of light, all in reverse. So there's ultimately the ability of a paradigm shift, and they're trying to hide this shift, because with this shift we will become sovereign as universal entities. We are coming into an elevation. We are moving into a time of our divine calling and our divine intervention. And we are integrating the veil of the fifth density, the fourth density, the third density. We're integrating all those into one, in the oneness. This is why we are being brought to this new elevation, this new essence of who we are, and stepping into our ultimate calling and ultimate purpose. Because we are in a elevated space of creation, being able to create reality for what we see, what we want to manifest, being manifestors of Mother Earth, being the keepers of Gaia, being the watchers. Part of the whole idea of us having these senses and having these abilities is to be of a beacon of light to other planets and other solar systems and other beings. And there are beings that have lived here long before us. And some of these beings have been dormant to be brought about in a particular time as such as this. And certain dormant entities are being revived. It's almost as if a frog going through a hibernation period and being frozen in the ice. And then springtime comes around and the great melt happens and it springs back to life and hops away. It's the same situation but in a longer time frame. We are in a time and place such as this to be of witness to that evolution, to be of witness to the changing of the guard, to the evolution of consciousness and awareness to bring about the change that we wish to see in the world. And there are certain entities that feel that they can control and manipulate this process. And the word is that they will be annihilated. I will not name names, because within certain places, within certain groups of people, there are good and bad. And the bad is outweighing the good at this time, because they feel that they can puppeteer, they can blackmail, and they can create and coerce and manipulate. And the awareness of this manipulation has become evident. And it is about to get way more chaotic than what we've experienced in the past. And it's because of this manipulation and chaos, which will give us no other choice but to choose. The question is, collective, what side are you on? It's time to wake up, or you're going to be late for peace. It should have already been here. It should have already been assimilated. But due to the manipulation, it's been controlled. The information, the wisdom, the knowledge has been withheld from the masses. They tried to hoard it. And now it is being released by divine intervention, because it was not supposed to be hoarded. It was not supposed to be manipulated. It was not supposed to be withheld from humanity. To recognize and realize our true potential is the whole purpose for us to be here. And when it is overall being manipulated and we are being kept from our calling and we are being dumbed down and deceived not to be able to step into that calling, this is the time to wake up. This is the time to recognize and realize not only what we are doing ultimately to ourselves, but what we are doing to Mother Gaia. We've been so desensitized that we do not hear her cries anymore. She's gone silent. And for some of us that know exactly what I'm talking about, the silence is absolutely deafening. And this is partially the shift, the recognizing of that silence. And all it would take us to do is to remember. All it would take us is to open our hearts. But a lot of our hearts are so damaged and so closed off due to the trauma and the chaos that it's very difficult to even trust ourselves, let alone anyone else. So the shift that you are feeling is meant to wake you up. It's meant to bring you to the realization that it is you that you've been searching for this whole time. You are the only one that will save you. Looking for other people to save you isn't the situation at hand, because you ultimately need to save yourself. And by saving yourself, you will ultimately save the world. Dragons of the north, south, east, and west, hear my call. Bring us your wisdom. Bring us your clarity of what's been hidden. 3 messages here on the table. I'm going to save the bigger one for last. It is now time to nurture your truth and recognize that we have been disconnected from our commitment to our true essence of our calling. And it was basically to dim our shine, to eradicate the light within us. And this ultimately should make us furious. It is meant to unbalance us. It's meant to create a anger and a chaos and a infuriating energy. This whole idea of order out of chaos does not work anymore. Not for our mindscape, mind frame, and neither for the frequency at hand here. We are meant as a collective to collaborate together. And this is to eradicate the injustice and eradicate and transmute the pain into power, to heal our hearts, and to step into that calling again, and to remember where we come from, remember why we are here. We are dealing with a group of dark spiritualists that have greed and darkness in their hearts. And unless we eradicate that, and unless we recognize that and band together, there ultimately is no hope for us. And the only way that we will beat this is together. We start it individually. And as we empower ourselves, the pathway will be cleared in front of us. We will then know what we need to do through that empowerment. But we need to overcome our insecurities, and we need to overcome the challenges at hand in order to eradicate the deception and the injustice. It ultimately revolves around healing our hearts and using our discernment as to what we pour into and stepping back into our sacred essence of who we are. This is why star seeds and indigos and crystal children have been born in this time and place. The people running this world are very unstable. And this is where the changing of the guard will take place. Because we will recognize they have no good intention for the experience, for the world. And there will be a revolution. We are being brought into a place and time where we will have no other choice but to band together in partnership. It is ultimately the only way that we will eradicate it. And the fact that there are people, not only of myself, but there are people around the world that are starting to come to realize this. And the fact is there is a great anxiety that the world is going through right now. Because we are on the precipice of change. And ultimately we need to recognize the masculine and feminine energies that are within absolutely every single one of us. This whole idea of gay, straight, trans situation needs to be eradicated. It's not about being gay, it's not about being straight, it's not about being trans, it's not about any of that. It's about recognizing that we are both masculine and feminine. In order to receive, in order to be compassionate, in order to create, we must be in balance with both. It is not about a man and a woman creating. Because like a dolphin, they don't need a man or a woman to create. They can create life just by themselves. And we are ultimately the same way, just in a different manifestation. In order to create love in life, it needs love. Love is the most powerful magic known to man. In the wrong hands, it could be deadly. Balancing out your masculine and feminine energy ultimately brings you back into the essence of the divine. It brings you the ability to interact and come into balance with the divine as well as your higher self. It brings about the collaboration of that higher self with the divine in a holy trinity. And this is the essence of creation in itself. The fact that we've been lied to, the fact that we've been deceived, is a relative to the situation. The fact that we know this now and we are failing to apply that lesson to the situation is our issue. This is our current challenge. Yes, we have been through a lot. Yes, we have been abused. Yes, we've been confused. Yes, we've been puppeteered. Yes, we've been deceived. We've been manipulated. We've had no other choice but to face consequence of our own actions. Because by divine will, we do have free will to make or break or choose what we want to focus on. And due to the temptation of the darkness and the illusion of what it brings, and the devils and the demons of that darkness, it ultimately brings us back to the true nature of our abilities to be loving and cruel all at the same time. And because of their free will, we have the ability to have both. We have the ability to be both. As well as masculine and feminine energies and the duality between each, to where a man could be protective just as much as destructive, and where a woman can be nurturing just as much they can be abusive and conniving. We all have those aspects within us, and it's ultimately up to our free will to choose what we bring into our existence. And we will now need to overcome our pain and our traumas and refocus our priorities on what we need to see in order to save planet Earth. It is inevitable. And we ultimately have no other choice but to give back in a time of need and a time of desperation. And we need to open up to the idea to give of ourselves, of what we, and to give to others of what we cannot give ourselves. Because of this tyranny, because of the manipulation, because of the chaos, community is the only thing that will ultimately bring us back into balance. Community recognizing the masculine and feminine, men and women of each and every nation across the planet. But ultimately, because we've been lied to, and because we've had no other choice but to overcome the darkness and to give back anyway, in spite of the darkness, it is part of our destiny that this does not go on the way that it goes on any further. It is part of our destiny to stand up once and for all and recognize where we have went wrong and where we can do better, and take our own accountability as well as hold those responsible that need to be held responsible for crimes against humanity. We can no longer go on like this. We're spinning our wheels anyway, and it's time to get out and push. It's time to rise as a great resistance against the tyranny once and for all. They are few, we are many, and unless we take action, we will not prevail. It is in our destiny to do so. It is in our destiny to take action, to rise above it once and for all. Being overwhelmed is not an option. It's part of what fuels us. Part of standing on the truth that we know deep within our hearts, having it being revealed to us, and fighting for our life. Healing that what was said, looking beyond the chaos, without apology. Transmuting the pain into power. Witnessing the chaos and cutting out the chaff from the wheat. Being very strategic in knowing our essence and our integrity, and knowing in what direction, utilizing our intention and integrity, and moving forward with moral, and allowing our inner light to guide us. Showing compassion to those that are without, that are disempowered, and that deserve better treatment than what they've received. Standing in our masculine as the emperors and empresses that we have always known to be. But due to our insecurities, we failed to rise. Making the decision to do the work, the inner work, in order to recognize our true essence and our true divinity. Recognizing that we are here now, and remember the reason why we are here and now in this time and place, to bring about a change of reality, to bring about a balance to what was always meant to be. We are that change collective. If we do not stand up and we allow them to eradicate us, we will have only ourselves to blame. The time is now to rise. The time is now to recognize our true essence of who we are, to support one another, and to remember that we are one of the same essence of creation. We are all divine, but a lot of us have forgotten due to the confusion and due to the pain and trauma. And it's now time to look beyond the insecurities and the pain and recognize our true essence and true power of what we can actually accomplish. And I'd love it if YouTube would stop throttling my channel. they're not serving a higher purpose by doing so. Spirit, what's else been hidden from us? The Nine of Cups. It's to bring about calamity. It's to bring about an emotional manipulation. It's to bring about a situation where we are dependent on others, to where we do not make the choice to step into our divinity. We are misjudging our true potential. And we are being manipulated into not taking action. I'm picking up on a frequency machine. You know, people are totally distracted. A lot of people do not want to face the truth because of their insecurities. And this is ultimately how we're going to lose. This is why we need to call our power back and remember the fact that we are part of divine. We are all divine. But the main challenge is the fact that most of us have forgotten. The chosen and the light workers are here to help you remember. The true chosen, not the ones that just are saying that they're chosen for clout. The true chosen have seen the ridicule. They've went through the abuse. They've had to deal with it firsthand. I being one of them. A lot of people out there say that they're chosen when they have not a fucking clue. They think it's they think it's a good thing to be chosen. They think it's a popularity contest. The true chosen have went through tribulations, and they are not to be fucked with, because that's why they are divinely anointed. This is why they are divinely guided, guarded, and protected. Because of the chaos they've had happen in their experience. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. It takes great sacrifice to be a chosen and to be in this time and place. And I wouldn't wish it even on my worst enemy. There's a lot of people out there that are trying to call their power back and release themselves from the betrayal in the Great Awakening. But they are basically being manipulated into not making the decisions that they need to make, and they are being eradicated of their foundation. So they ultimately have to walk away from their calling. They have no choice but to fend for themselves. And this comes back to the narcissist versus the empath. Like, personally, I can't catch a break. Anybody and everybody I know is either hurt, damaged, or toxic. Everyone is dealing with some sort of chaos. And there's no sense of peace anywhere. Everybody's out for themselves. And this is why I've been so predominantly focused on healing. This is why I've been sticking to myself. This is why I've been taking more days off in order to be in peace. To be at peace with myself and just to be in my own energy, because it's draining. And a lot of the readers have fallen off because they can't handle it. They can't handle the pressure. A lot of the chosen, a lot of the people that are actually doing the work, they're falling off. They're leaving. They're leaving and they're staying to themselves. They're giving up because nobody wants to open up their eyes, nobody wants to see, nobody wants to choose to stand and walk with. There's no sense of community, everybody's out for themselves. But the manipulators are creating this chaos, so that's exactly what happens. But when push comes to shove, they need people to run the machines. They need people to pick the food. They need people to do all these different situations, to do these jobs, to create the system in order to sustain us. And I'll tell you right now, you could program a whole bunch of robots to do that. But if you have all the robots connected to the same internet, and then you create a machine to control them, and you don't think there's going to be glitches, you don't think there's going to be a situation where the machines are going to be so smart to take over, and they think they're going to get away with it by just creating a machine to do everything and eradicate the purpose of humanity? And eradicate 3/4 of the population in order to somehow find peace on the planet. Meanwhile, we are all from the divine. We are all here. And we all have a purpose. We all have a reason. And they'd sooner distract us from that reason and that purpose and providing value rather than inspiring us to step into our divinity and bring us back into the frequency of Atlantis. It's all a possibility, collective. But it's up to us. It's ultimately up to us and what we choose to do. This is why I'm here trying to inspire. And I'm not saying go into revolt and go loot and cause problems and cause chaos. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, if you were to live like Jesus, what would you do? If you were to live with a source consciousness, what would that entail? It would entail a unity, it would entail a peace, it would entail community and working together to sustain and to create a better world. Not to go out and pillage and loot and kill people. Rather than misunderstand people, try understanding them instead. Instead of hating on people, try loving them instead. Try being compassionate instead. And suddenly, the blessings will be. And suddenly, there will be a peace. There will be tranquility. And suddenly, there will be a calling and a healing. And suddenly, there will be peace on earth. But that will ultimately take us to suddenly realize our fullest potential. That is concluding our reading for the evening, collective. I'm going to end it with my prayer. O universal source, divine breath of creation, you who exist in the realm of pure vibration and subtle energy, may your sacred frequency be awakened within us. May we embody the divine essence, allowing the kingdom to arise within our hearts and souls. And let the divine will of the physical and spiritual merge realms in the cosmic divine pattern, microcosm to macrocosm, nourishing us with cosmic divine vitality and divine wisdom and life force. Divine energy of cosmic consciousness, please restore us of any misalignment and confusion that has been created against us as we release what no longer serves us. Let it release the blocks that hinder forward movement. What we release then releases us. And invoke our discernment and awareness to not be deceived, and awaken our divine blueprint of destiny, giving us the synchronicity and signs to banish doubt, fog, and confusion. Protect our divine pathway and rescue us from illusion of separation from our divine purpose and soul family. And in the name of divine order of our inner sacred kingdom, match our outer experience. And may the creative spark be lit and protect us on our journey and guide us through divine intervention, now and forever. Collective, I love you. If this message has vibed with you and resonated with you, if you'd like to support me and my channel, it'd be greatly appreciated. Together we rise. Until the next video, please be good to yourself, so that way we can be good to others. And I'll catch you in the next video.